Welcome everybody. We will get started. So we are under continuing resolution. So let me make sure this is sharing out the way it should be. CR. Now what? What are we doing? How can we do this? The government doesn't spend any money, Rafa. They're not spending money. That's what you think, but I'll prove to you wrong.
That's right.
All right, so the hot seat questions. You guys don't even know. Hot seat questions for today. What do contracting officers need? How do you get past performance when you don't have past performance and you need past performance to bid? How many been there? Everybody probably been there at some point. How do contracting officers include or exclude you before the RFP? Where's Brian Hebel? Is Brian Hebel here? Yes, he is.
Yeah, I'm here, Dave. You hear me?
Hold on a sec. I got to turn let you get the camera on.
Yeah, you didn't want to see me because I'm too ugly.
That's true, but you are here live, so I have to turn it on. So everybody just get ready. Hold on to the camera.
Oh,
there he is.
There we go. Oh, isn't that amazing? And a real contracting officer, ex-contracting officer to boot too.
That's right.
In fact, how many people in the audience still have a copy of the FAR on their desk?
Yeah, right. Everybody on this call has a copy of that FAR on their desk. I'm certain. You do, Raphael?
I do, and I also have. I do, and I also have how to make the FAR easy by one of our colleagues. FAR in plain English is the name of the word. Actually,
I'm really impressed.
Yeah,
there you have it on their bedstand.
Yeah. But it wouldn't take me 2 seconds to read that, and I would be asleep. That is true.
Here you go. Here you go. Here's for Chris Minarchik. Federal Acquisition Regulation in plain English.
There you go. Good. Very cool.
And by the way, he's actually an attorney and knows his stuff. So just so you know,
cool. Yeah. I hadn't heard that book. That's cool.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Chris Minarchik.
Excellent. So the bonus is how we're going to tie in Sam Radar, and I know Sally does this already. And I apologize. I'm operating about 40%. I got last night. I don't know. Something hit me. So if I fall over in my chair, just send the paramedics for me.
We got you, Dave.
And we love participation. If you want to chat, if you want to tell us the one word for doing business with the federal government, we love it there. And you'll find some information in the chat for us. If you have any questions, make sure you raise your hand or put it in the Q&A, because I don't know, what do we got here today? We got 66 people. We're not going to be able to check the chat. It's going to be really problematic. So that's the best way to do it. Disclaimer for industry. It's not affiliated, endorsed by anybody, government or otherwise. And most people want to just run away. I'm just kidding. All right. So participation is not guarantee award. And for Govies, like former Govey here, Mr. Brian Hebel, used to be with CMS, right, Brian?
Yep. Medicare headquarters. So.
How long were you? We'll talk about you in a minute. But you were, what, 32? 34?
32 years as a CO, 34 years in the government.
There you go. So we will connect you with experts like Brian, like Peter, like Sally, like Rafa. And we do also have a free trial for samradar.com. We will be featuring Sam Radar a little bit today. So let's get to know each other. We'll tell you a little bit about us, but tell us a little bit about you. You brand spanking new in the government, or do you been around for a while, up to 20 years or so plus? And do you have any federal business now? If so, what type of federal business do you have? And have you ever been to one of these sessions before? I'm really surprised we have this many people, because I didn't send out any announcements or anything to say there was something.
They really wanted to be here, Dave. They really wanted to be here.
Everybody wanted to be.
They heard it was Chick-fil-A cards.
So the session docs, I'm going to put these in again for those who came late. The top link is for the session for that. And if you would like to check out and see the free NAICS review, we'll be showing the spreadsheet that you can get from Sam Radar and get a review with Rob, the one and only Rob Lundholm. He's here too. Let me see if you want to pop your camera on, Rob. You can say hi too.
And Dave, Todd says there's an automatic email that went out as a reminder. So your team is making it happen, sir.
I don't think it was my team that did. I think it was Zoom.
Oh.
Well, we'll take it. We'll take credit. All right. Okay. One word. All right. Anybody else got a one word for what you see as the federal government? What do we have there, Sally? Read out a couple of those from the chat for me.
Well, we have unbelievable. We have daunting. We have difficult. We have Sam Radar. We have complicated. We have profitable. Scroll up in the chat. We have capabilities. I like that, Dr. Raphael. Curious. Food. No, there is a lot of food at those conferences.
Food.
They really feed you a lot.
That is a conference wonky right
Patience,
there, boy.
patience, creative. We have some positive people here today, Dave.
We
Relationships,
do.
money. Show me the money, baby.
Well, we'll bring them. We'll bring them back to reality.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, complicated, complex, right? Ever changing. That's 2 words. You're right, Rita. That is 2 words. Just kidding. I love it. Thank you. Opportunity. I agree with you because there's a lot of opportunity. That's why we're here, right? That is why
Sure.
we're here. So I'm going to introduce you first to the doctor, the colonel doctor, the Rafael Marrero. And as he mentioned, I am the token gringo because I was tooling around the Senate building with this character and in an elevator. And,
with a delegation from the U.S. Hispanic Chamber. That was funny.
and I was there with the same lanyard on. And he looks at me like, "No way, no way."
Yeah.
Big guy
What's
from
your
Texas.
deal? What's your deal?
All right. Rafa helps people with capability statements, capabilities briefings, videos. What do you mean? We're going to talk a little bit about capability statements, but if somebody from your marketing team says, "What is a capability statement?" you're probably talking to the wrong person, right, Rafa?
Amen.
And so your job is to help them with capability statements. You actually do videos too. And
That's right.
That's a really cool thing. And the other thing I really like that you do is your business cards that are actually mini capability statements, right?
That's correct. Yep. They have the 6 essential elements of information that you should have on there to leave and walk away with a good impression when you first meet someone. At least get the dialogue going.
Yep. Because the people that wear this hat, they want to see all the NAICS codes and everything, right, Rafa?
Yeah. No matter what Brian says, they want to see NAICS codes.
NAICS code. What's the NAICS code?
What's the NAICS code? A couple months ago, Brian was here and he dropped the bomb. He's like, "I don't really care."
Yeah.
We don't care about your NAICS codes.
We also have on travel, on location from Salt Lake City Airport is the one, the only Sally White. And you're headed down, and you also help people with networking, and specifically you help people at shows like where you're headed. What are you doing there?
Exactly. So I'm going to a conference. It's called West 2024, and it's a conference where there's it's a naval focus, so Marines, Navy. Last week we were at the 8A conference, and so basically I help people with their conference campaigns, really making the most, leveraging the money spent at conferences by doing some LinkedIn before, connecting with people. And again, I know that it sounds always shameless because I say it, but I go on Sam Radar and see who I can connect with and who will be at the conferences. So I'm really excited. I put my info in the chat. Love to connect. Thanks so much.
You can be as shameless as you want every time you say Sam Radar, Sam Radar, Sam Radar.
Well, it's true. And it's one word. It's one word. Sam and then concatenated radar.
Hey, that's right.
One word. Sam Radar.
I don't know, but you might be able to see it right here throughout the presentation. You might be able to see it there.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're not familiar with Sam Radar, we will facilitate familiarity.
We will help you out. We will help you out.
And one of my buds is here today. Peter, great to see you, man. I heard you were at the 8A conference along with Sally last week, right?
Yep.
And tell everybody what you do. He's the only one with a QR code, so everybody get your phone out and click your QR code and do that.
This is my 34th year lending to GovCons, and what makes a difference whether you're a newbie or I noticed that our biggest constituents here is 32% have been in the business over 20 years. So whether you're new or you're existing, we're going to lend to your opportunities, your contracts, rather than your financial statements. So our clients know they have the ability to bid on contracts of any size, and we're going to be there for payroll funding even before you invoice your customers. So it's lending to the opportunities versus your financial statement. And the other important thing that we do is we'll give out letters of financial support.
And what does that mean?
They use Sam Radar to identify those opportunities, and they put their proposals in. They can ask us for a letter of financial support that you will include with the contract opportunity that you identified through Sam Radar. And getting back to the conference, we did the financial workshop at the conference, National 8A Conference, and I got a call from Sally because we just finished up talking and we were talking to a few people. Sally says, "You got to get back to the booth. We are being overrun with people requesting." So we saw ISI clients there. We saw Sam Radar clients there. So we were tying it all together and pushing GovBrief and
Love it.
Raphael. We were pushing the whole team.
I love it, man. You're awesome, and congratulations on what you do. And what I love about Peter more than anything else, banks don't understand the govies and the federal government contract. They don't understand it. And once, if you have a $1 million company that wins a $10 million contract, their heads explode. And Peter has helped folks meet that. And your objective is just to help them help them win the business, help them perform, right, Peter?
Yeah, David. Not only don't they understand, but because of the failure of some banks in California last fall, the banking regulations have got even tighter, and we're seeing existing clients that we had 10 years ago coming back because they can't get the increases to their lines with their current banking situation.
Love it. And we also,
Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, just wanted to say that one of the key criteria when you're being considered for certifications in small business is the possibilities for success, right? And they evaluate financials when they're reviewing candidates as part of your application. So it's not just, hey, I belong to a certain ethnic minority or I'm a veteran. You know, in this case, the 8A program specifically, you have to prove that you meet the economic disadvantage criteria. And so one of the things that Dave does, that Peter does that is great, that letter of financial support really gives the reviewers of that application the warm and fuzzies, right? Because they understand that you have financial backing in case you are approved, because that is a key criteria. And I wanted to give Peter some kudos on that because my clients have actually benefited from his letters, and I wanted to acknowledge that.
That's awesome, man. So so if you haven't clicked on it, that's Peter's stuff. And we also have the one, the only Brian Hebel in the house. And Brian, so if you think about your maturity model, right? A lot of us, like me and Rafa and Sally, we're helping to win the business. This cat was a former contracting officer, first of all, right? Right, Brian?
Yep, 32 years.
And he works with people on making sure they understand the FAR, making sure that they get good CPARs. How important are good CPARs?
Well, I'll tell you what, with what I do since I'm retired, I've been retired 6 years. I actually train federal agencies on how to do CPARs and also teach them how to really be on we do a simulated technical panel evaluation training exercise where we give them short scopes of work, short proposals, resumes, evaluation criteria, score sheets. We actually train, particularly in my former agency, we train them how to evaluate proposals. We train them on how to do CPARs, and now we're doing a FAR crash course for them. And we do that for industry. And on the industry side, I do training with former colleagues, and we've trained over 4,000 people since COVID hit, virtually online.
That's awesome, man.
Different type of training. So, and thanks, Dave, for helping to market it and teaming together with you to really make it successful.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, Brian and I go back. I spoke at one of your events. What was that called?
Business Development Capture Convention back in 19 before COVID. When we
were real. We were real people then.
Yeah.
So we did that, and we connected, and we got some really big news coming out. I can't put it here, right? We can't talk about it yet.
Not yet.
But it's coming.
Yeah.
All right. For those of you who don't know me, I'm CEO of ISI Federal. Underneath of us, I am doing the SAM.gov tutorial today on GovBrief. We'll talk about that in a minute. One of the things that came up today is just GovBrief in general, as Peter mentioned it, and we do a lot of work with Brian. Brian's either on GovBrief. GovBrief helps to market him, and we actually go out to industry with tutorials, with just helping you in industry understand the business of government. Sally's going to be on. Rafa, you're on this week, right?
I am, as a matter of fact. This Thursday. We're going to talk about socioeconomic certifications.
Yep. And if you want to reach Govies, that's what we built GovBrief for. And if you want to see what that looks like, you can see that these are actually going out to government decision makers. deaf community DEI and CX initiatives. Think about that, right? They are a community of folks that aren't represented the way that they should be, and so we're upping the ante inside the federal government on their behalf. They run the TTR. They're the ones that have run it. They know everything about running contracts in the federal government. We also have this is a really wild one. So, best practice for rigging and accident avoidance. If you are lifting heavy things, that's what they're about. So pretty cool. That's a new one to me, and looking forward to seeing what Patrick has to say about that. We do have some pretty significant players coming on board. We have Brian on. We did HHS the other day, right, Brian?
Yep, we had a spreadsheet, 2,300 actions that were small businesses that were expired in 2024, and that was people love that information. And we just try to, as a CEO, I kind of think about things a little bit differently than maybe people from industry, and we worked together with Dave and had a great material for everybody to know where to hunt in HHS this year.
Yeah, and you definitely think different than industry. Just saying. All right, but Ralph is here. You just go to govbrief.us. That's the former Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Navy. She had 8,200 reports. So super. Joan Johnson, rock star. She's a rock star. And we have Jason Moy next week, so you can check those out there. We will be talking about the game changer, Sam Radar. We'll give you the 2-minute challenge throughout this. That means click, ask for a referral, or contact the buyer and ask for a meeting. You can find that on Sam Radar there. This is why we do what we do. So this is a long intro, but I wanted you to know who was here and the kind of folks that are here. This is the spending report as of the first of the year. Changes a little bit over time, but this is how much money was spent by the government. 10.4 million contracts and change. And look at that top part. That top part, number of offers received. That's what is sorted by. Number of offers received. What does that mean, Brian? Number of offers received. You as a former contracting officer, what does that mean?
Well, it's usually not reported 64%. Wow, that's crazy, Dave. Yeah, but it's how many people submitted proposals, and if it's 0, it's usually 1. I mean, if it's blank or 0, it's 1, and if it's 1, it's 1. Yeah. So most of the procurements are really done with one-off work, is what you generally say.
Yep, 76%. If you want to look at the data, I didn't make the data. The data comes from FPDS, a government system, right? That's what you report in, right? When you were a Govy.
Yep. Yeah. Whether it was $0, $1, $100 million, it all goes into FPDS.
And then you have the shortlisted ones, right? So 91% went to 5 or fewer. And because, Brian, you love to have 50 responses, just like we love to have 50 competitors, don't you?
No, the dirty secret is contracting officers, they like competition, but not too much. So if we get 2, 3, or 4 offers, that's great. If we're going to use an IDIQ and you got 120 people on it, like a lot of contractors like to get on now, we don't like to use that. We'd rather, particularly in civilian agencies, just use GSA and don't even post it on eBuy. Just go out to like 3 to 6 people, and you don't even see it pop up anywhere.
Did you hear that, everybody? Did you hear what he said?
That's not fair.
That's not fair. That's not right.
I don't care.
The FAR says you shall put it out for full and open competition. That's what the FAR says, Brian.
The main thing is to try to buy it as quick as we can, right? Get it done as efficiently as possible. And if you got 20 people submitting proposals, that's not too efficient.
That's not too efficient. And that's why we built Sam Radar, because 98% does not hit sam.gov. And that's why we've got to go and get to the 98%. So do you want a piece of the 98% is the next thing. And yes, this is self-serving as I can possibly get. Kevin Bookman, you're on Sam Radar, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And what do you do every day?
So I do, our business specializes in cybersecurity framework assessments and preparation.
There's no future in cybersecurity, man.
So it's the job that keeps on giving through life.
That's right. So, and you check Sam Radar. How often do you check Sam Radar?
I'm on, well, I get the feeds from your website every day.
Every day.
So I'm looking at so I have in my email, I have the breakout from your different emails. So awards, and then also opportunities and then bids. So I'm in the awards every day, seeing what awards are, who's getting the award that may be within my wheelhouse. So the big ones yesterday was $11 million to a small company here in Virginia. So like 11.6, I think that deal was to do staffing or for IT, like basically IT service management. So um, we're our ideological approach is shifting from strictly just cybersecurity to trying to expand into more of the IT service management. It seems there's more contracts there recently, so we're looking to facilitate subcontracting a process or subcontracts to get us into companies who have an SDVSB requirement as the large primes would have.
Love it. And that we're going to talk about that some too, because there are questions of the day. I appreciate you being here, man. He just popped in as a panelist, probably because you were a panelist on something else. So he popped up and say, "Hey, come on, let's go, Kevin Bookman. You want to be on the show? You're on the show, baby."
Appreciate
So
that.
the feds are spending, and the first question today is, what do contracting officers need? And I'm going to set this up for everybody who's kind of new, and for the folks that are kind of new, you have multiple people that are involved in this process. This is a strategic sale out of the gate. In most instances, you have at least two decision makers that you have to be able to resonate with, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to end this poll. Appreciate you guys that want a piece of the 98%. We can help you get there. So let's talk about what this looked like. All right. So the top level, you have the politicals, right? Right, Brian? You have the politicals come in and they set the policy. They tell you what's going to happen and why it's going to happen. If he disappeared, he's got to go watch his grandson, I know. So maybe he left. But then you have the senior executive service underneath of those. These are the top level bureaucrats that are responsible for getting things done. No matter who is the president, no matter who comes in at the top of the agencies, their job is to help get the things done. Now, because one side of the house, that's their job, is to get the stuff done. That would be your program folks, the program managers, the project managers, the people that are responsible. And where Kevin was just talking about, they are contracting with people to staff some of these things. And they're the ones that are going to tell the people that come in to work every day what they're supposed to do. The other side of the house, the Bryans of the world, they're the ones that care about getting the contract done. They care about what the mechanism is. Now, interestingly enough, the contracting officers don't come up with a need. That comes to the program people. And we're going to be talking about this part right here. But right now, we're talking about the contracting officers. Raphael, what do contracting officers need? Right out of the gate? What do they need?
Well, from their program folks, they need a requirement.
Yeah, they need a requirement.
They need a clearly spelled out requirement.
Yep.
Here's what I need you to source, vet, and procure for me. That's it. Right.
Yep.
These are the these are the feeds and speeds in case of hardware, right? Or these are the requirements and talents and skill sets that I need, the labor categories. That's it.
They don't make the requirement up, folks. So when you go and tell them how great of your cybersecurity thing is that you do, Kevin, they don't really care about that. What do they care about? What do they really care about? Contracting officers here.
Can you
they want to have
problem?
they want the job to be done right. Brian Hebel just popped back up. What do contracting officers really care about, Brian?
The mission and getting it done quickly.
Getting what done quickly?
Spending the money.
Spending the money. Now, if I came to you and I said, "Hey, Brian, I want you to see all my Wismo technical ideas that I got. I got these Wismo technical ideas that are gonna change the way things work in CMS. I'm telling you, Brian, they're gonna change. Look at the bits and bytes I got. Look at that, and look at all the different places I can operate." What are you gonna say?
If you're going to help them solve a problem, if that's going to help them solve a problem, that would be good. But if you're going to submit that stuff in a proposal, you're going to be increasing probably they're probably not going to like it because government what it wants, right? But in terms of going in and, telling them about, helping them solve a problem, save money, new technology, industry trends, like that's a way to get a meeting with them. But in terms of submitting that in a proposal, what you want to do in a proposal, you want to submit something that exceeds requirements, adds value, or reduce risk. So the reduced risk on that side is really, you don't want to propose that stuff necessarily in a proposal if they're not asking for it.
So, and your job was to award the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted the fastest way to do that too, right?
Yep. Yeah, the most efficient way. So you could go in, if I buy stuff on GSA and you go in and you're on some IDIQ contract, I probably never used that contract and don't even know what it's about and probably don't want to use it. So, we kind of spend using vehicles we're familiar with. So you kind of got to know how the CO spends even from that standpoint.
There it is. So what he just said, now he said IDIQ, for those folks who are new, that's indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. You also have BPAs or blanket purchase agreements, of which there's over 10,000 of those. What are the chances that Brian's going to know about that one? Now, he may want to know about it because it may be a faster path. He might want that. But you got to educate Brian on what contract you are on. And you mentioned GSA, Brian, right? There's a lot of folks that are on GSA, and you used to buy off of GSA, and some contracting officers hate GSA.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you just have to know how do they buy and what do they like.
And what's one of the best ways, Sally White, what is one of the best ways to find out how contracting officers buy?
Well, the best way I know, pop question, is to review and look at my SAM radar that comes to my email box every day.
Yep.
For me and my clients, because otherwise I have no way of knowing who those individuals are. Sometimes they're on LinkedIn, sometimes they're not, but it's a direct ability for me to see who's buying and get their telephone number, give them a call, find out how much they're spending, who's buying from whom. It's everything to what we're doing here in growing our government contracting business. So
I'm gonna show you this real quick because what she just said, and here's $122,000 awarded the other day with one offer received. And what she's saying is, you know who knows how they're spending is Courtney Pierce. That's who knows from NASA. You can say, hey, what's your preferred purchasing mechanism? If I ask Brian that kind of question, that's where he lives, ladies and gentlemen. Before I even talk about, and I can say, hey, Brian, what's the best way? How would you normally procure what I sell? In order to answer that question, he has to take a look and say, well, it looks like you're doing this kind of stuff. That would be in this area in CMS. These are the people that know exactly what they're buying and who they're buying from. So that goes to the 2-minute drill we're going to talk about in just a minute. I just want to give you a heads up on that. So,
hey, Dave, just one point though. The people on the inside government, they don't see what we see from FPDS, right? So all that data you're running from SAM.gov or SAM Radar, they don't see that. I mean, I actually sometimes meet with them just to show them what we can see on the outside that they can't see on the inside. And
Dave,
that's whose job is that?
Dave, take it back to that page. I just want to make sure that 85 people on here see the power in this. So what he showed you, I mean, this is incredible. You see what the award is. You see who to call. You have their phone number. I mean, where can you get this information fed in your box? Now, I've used other solutions I have to go in, I have to do research, I have to put in data. This comes every day to your box, to my email box, based on my NACE codes, and those are my customers. It's very, very powerful. I just want to make sure that everybody gets what you're offering here.
Well, I love it. You can tell me to stay on that slide as long as you want.
Move on.
There you go. All right. So hot seat question number two. And everybody, this is something that came in, I think it was during our Monday roundtables yesterday, Sally. How do you get past performance when you don't have past performance and you need past performance to bid? This is a classic catch-22, right? everybody here has probably been in this situation. Hang on one second. We got somebody with an attendee with their hand up. Sean,
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, man. Sean, you there? Sean Kimple. My apologies. You there, Sean? And you can
Yeah, I'm
unmute.
here. I didn't mean to put my hand up. I
That's
apologize.
fine, man. So,
Okay.
well, it's good to see you. I'll wave my hand to you
Yeah,
too.
wait.
All right, thank you.
All right.
So Dave, what's
So-
nice, Dave, is the SBA made it possible. I don't know, Raphael could help me out with this because he knows more than I do about this, but they made it possible so our past performance doesn't necessarily need to be government past performance. So it's really important on your website, you have your past performance. If you have government, great. But if you don't, you want to put your past performance and commercial and others that you have because that can count. And Raphael, please, be additive to what I said.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So the important thing is to demonstrate that you have the capability to execute or deliver as required. A1 choice would be agency specific and department, right? But if you don't have government past performance in that area of work or that scope, it's always good to cite the related commercial experience, private sector experience that you can bring to bear. That's important because it shows that you can do the job, right? Yep. You match the scope of work and the skill set to their requirements, and you're going to have a leg up on the competition.
So I'm going to point something out real quick. As we said, so this is in your handouts, by the way. And if you haven't gotten the handouts, let me see if I can pop that back in there for you. You can get the handouts. So this is the winnable opportunity matrix, and we want to drive people into the green. We've used this for many, many years. But you're looking at the project manager. This is what we just talked about, right? The project manager has something that they need. They throw it over the fence to the contracting officer. That's where it shows as an opportunity, right? So we do want to see the opportunities, right, guys? Everybody wants to see that. So if we take a look at that, I'm going to show you the other side of SAM Radar, which hey, sources sought, finding things. This is actually a solicitation, and it's set aside for a service disabled small business. This one happens to be also a solicitation set aside for small business. This one is sources sought. So the objective is to know early. If we go back to this winnable opportunity matrix, we want to know early, 60 days plus in advance. A sources sought will help us do that with an RFP that's coming down the street. So when we look at those things and we're asking the question, and I think what I love about what you just said, Rafa, if you have past performance, they're going to be looking for the past performance at the agency level in that particular department is going to take the most, that's going to get the most points for them. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that, and the incumbent does have that, that puts you at a significant disadvantage potentially, right?
Right.
So our job, to your point, is we want to illustrate, hey, these guys might have been doing it for a while, but we can do it better than they can do it. We can save money. We have a different approach. Our management approach is different. We've been doing it for Disney, or we've been doing it for Microsoft, or we've been doing it for a county government. It doesn't really matter. We need to get that in front of them and make that point, right? So
there's a couple of questions Sally. Too, Dave. Oh, people are asking questions. So when you get a minute, if you want to respond. So one question is about SAM Radar. Thank you, Rand. It says, am I correct in understanding that awards shown on SAM Radar are already awarded, but the value of SAM Radar is in pointing out those who have purchased. Let me just scroll down because it's in the chat. So if you could answer that SAM Radar. And then there's two questions in the poll. One's from Stacy Paul and one's from Preston.
And the answer for Stacy is yes. We are now able to send a Gmail because here's our problem, Stacy. If you ask for 1,000 emails a day, we're going to send them to you. And Gmail doesn't like that. They think it looks like somebody that's just absolutely pounding somebody, right? So now we can, Stacy, and we actually, and if we still have any issues, we have a workaround for you. So great question, Stacy. That sounds like somebody that already knows something.
Yep. And then Preston says, does the government have residential houses that need roofing services? Can I find it on SAM Radar?
Yes. The answer is yes in two places. You can find it in opportunities, but more importantly, you can look at folks that are responsible for doing the facilities management of those housings and then say, ooh, I want to get to, let's see, I don't know that we have anything here for that, but reaching out to this individual and saying, hey, who handles the roofing? And that goes to the 2-minute drill, by the way. 2 things that you can do. You can reach out to the contracting officer, ask for a meeting. You can ask for a referral. Ask for the referral internally and get to the program manager potentially, or to the prime, because it's a bigger project for roofing, because sometimes the roofing happens as a sub component to a larger project, right, Rafa? You did a lot of construction in your day, right?
A lot of construction. Yep.
A lot of construction. So, and roofing oftentimes is a smaller component of a larger project, right? And so we also have the ability to reach out and say, hey, Saran, give me who it is over at Energy Resources or the prime contractor, general contractor who won the big job, because they may need roofing services as well. Great example.
Yep. And I think
that's the way it's done, Dave.
The other
That's the way
question
it's
I think,
done.
Dave,
Yeah.
Go ahead,
you're
Sally.
answering is,
What's
I
that?
was just saying the other question in the chat, I think you answered it, in that Sam Radar can help you understand what happened, right, to help you predict the future. And it also helps you in the future by being able to contact people as well. So past, present, and future is how it helps.
Yep. And you're right. It's hard, Brandon, because we're showing you that you lost something, but you never knew it was there. You didn't really have a chance, right? Not calling you a loser. I'm saying that you lost one, but you can turn around and make that work for you. So, hot seat question number 3, how do contracting officers include or exclude you before and after the RFP? So sometimes it doesn't hit the street, right? We know this because we know that the project manager has a need. They throw it over the fence to the contracting officer. That provides us the opportunity. Then that says, boom, it's out on sam.gov, right? Or maybe not, probably not. So as we talked about it before, if we ask the buyer for a referral, we can get ahead of these, right? We can get ahead of these. And I'm telling you, 2 minutes is all you need, because Sam Radar's churning through this stuff all for you. I already showed you that a little bit. But let's talk about, how do contracting officers include or exclude you before or after the RFP? Who wants to step up? Kevin, you do some proposals, right? So how do they exclude you before the RFP? What are they asking for?
You mean when the RFI is written by the incumbent or written by someone that?
Yeah.
I mean,
are you telling me that
aside from that,
aside from that,
is there another aside from? I mean,
So
that was one.
Repeat that, Kevin. Repeat what you just said. You mean
is there another aside?
The incumbent is actually helping them write the scope?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we just countered that with an RFI to the VA, which had some seriously specific requests. So the DoD and the federal government has basically 3 security certifications that people can have at a senior level. This particular contract took that to an extreme, which I've never seen any contract, either being in the DoD or being at a federal agency or seeing contracts when I was in that space or outside. 3 people on that particular contract out of the 60 people needed to have very specific security certifications that I've never seen. And you had to submit the resumes of those 3 people in the RFI, not even the RFP, in the RFI.
In the RFI. So
yes, sir, that's correct.
So that's a classic, and that's where we all want to be, right? That's where you want to be. You want to be the one that can submit the 3 that they're expecting to see. They're obviously expecting to see it, right, Kev?
I mean, it makes it a daunting task. I mean, we decided to pass on that particular opportunity because we didn't have 3 people. I mean, in my space of cybersecurity, I don't know anybody in my network who has those specific security requirements or those certifications. Pardon me. So it was really eye-opening to me that was like a legit requirement at just the RFI level, not at.
And that wasn't, for everybody to know, that wasn't a socioeconomic set aside or other government required certification like we're talking about.
It was an SDVOSB set aside.
That was.
But you had to have 3 people on staff that had these 3 specific
professional.
Yes, sir.
professional industry certification, which is
Industry
great,
Sir,
right?
it's so if you're familiar with the CISSP or CISP, there's 3 additional follow-on certs you can get, and you needed 3 individuals with each one of those additional categorizations, if you will, of CISSP. I don't know anybody who has their
Sounds
CISSP.
wired. Sounds wired.
It's
Sounds
wired.
wired. Yeah,
Kudos.
sounds wired.
Kudos to the incumbent for developing relationships with the people and getting that injected. I know I've
Yep.
done it in the past. Other folks have done it in the past. Obviously, that helps that's like building a moat around your castle, right? Right, Kev? They built a moat around, and they said, hey, if you want to play, we're going to give you the bar to play, baby. And they put the bar high.
Yeah, I reached out to a friend of mine who's an IT security recruiter and asked her to send me 3 resumes of people who have that. And she said she could find one within their Rolodex or their database of people that had one.
What were they, by the way? What were they aside from the CISPs? So which additional certs?
So it's the ISS-AP, the ISS-EP, and there's another one, I forget the acronym for it, for CISSP that you have to have. And those those were 3 requirements that had to be submitted within the RFI.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
that sounds wired. Yeah.
That's what we want, guys, right? So let's take this to the next thing, how I can show you a little bit more about this. So the PM is saying, hey, we want to get this stuff done. They throw it over the fence of the contracting officer. It becomes an opportunity. And then what we're going to do is we want to use the award. The contracting officer awards it. And we want to ask the contracting officer for the project manager in there, right? Internally. Now, this is a higher risk kind of a question, right, Kevin? We're asking a contracting officer a referral internally within the agency. But if we give them an example, say, listen, hey, you're looking for these certifications. Let's say you're not even bidding that one, right, Kevin? Eventually, it's going to be awarded to who? To the incumbent, right? But there's something else that program manager and project manager is working on, including cybersecurity, that will not be incorporated into that particular scope. They're buying more than that, just that one contract, right, Brian? Right, Kev?
100%.
So what we want to do is we want to get to the program manager and get them into the green. Notice that if you get the winnable opportunity matrix, there is no middle ground. There is no 0 in between the ones, because if they don't know you, that's a red flag. It doesn't mean you're starting from 0. You're starting from negative. They're already buying it for somebody else, just like this company wired that particular solicitation. So what we want to do is we want to get to the project manager, and then we help to craft the next one, right, Kevin? The next one.
Right.
Then we get the same treatment. And I'm going to show you on the 2-minute challenge how you do this, right? Because what we do is all we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, we're going to reach out to Saran Scott, and say, hey, who is the PM in DOE, Department of Energy, that's handling this? I have something else. It's not associated with this, but I'm working on a similar project that looks like they're going to need this. They're going to need what I have. And they don't even know about us. It's really important that I get to them. Who is that person? And your only thing that you're up against is whether or not they're going to tell you, right? Right, Sally? You already got no. You already don't have it. And maybe you can do a little bit more research on this character. How would you do that? If you were going to find out some more information about Saran Scott, how would you do it, Sally?
So basically, I would go to LinkedIn, or I would Google that person, and maybe he, gave a presentation, or maybe like yesterday when we were on the roundtable, we discovered someone got new certifications and they were sort of touting themselves on LinkedIn. So I always go with a little bit of intel so that when I send out my LinkedIn request, I can say, it looks like we have several mutuals in common, and congratulations on your recent certification, and I'd love to connect. And they always connect. Like, I literally don't have anyone that does not connect. So you want to use Sam Radar to figure out who to connect with on LinkedIn. And then once you get that, you want to connect on LinkedIn so that you can develop that relationship.
Relationships matter. And you see it right here. You see it right here. 87% of the number of contracts and 91% of the dollars goes to 5 or fewer companies. And if you're spending there's nothing wrong with spending time responding to RFPs, right, Kevin? If it's in your sweet spot, you want to get, maybe the only way you get the meeting with them is to respond to an RFP, right, Kevin? You might not be able to get them any other way. So you don't want to stop responding to RFPs, but you want to continue the relationship development. And I'm telling you, 2 minutes is all it takes to help get you to the 98%, because Sam Radar's doing it in the back end. So let's go get some cash, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get to some questions in just a minute. Who's got questions? We got a couple in here.
There's a bunch in the chat. I'm trying to kind of keep up. If you chatters could put them in the Q&A, that would be really great. But I'm trying to scroll up. Every time I scroll up, someone asks a new question. So go ahead, Dave.
Here's the question. How do I find SDVOSB set-asides in Sam Radar? When you go into Sam Radar and you set up your opportunities, that's only going to come from the opportunity side. But hey, you want those, right? You want those, anonymous attendee. I don't know who you are. So you want to have the sources sought, or you want to have this, right? Service disabled or SDVOSB set aside. You can ask for a particular search and it'll deliver it to you as soon as it hits sam.gov. The other way that you can find out people that prefer service disabled or utilize service disabled, we know the VA does because they have to, right, Kevin?
100%.
They have to go to them first because of the Kingdomware decision in 2016. You can actually monitor certain competitors, because if you know they're SDVOSB and they line up right over top of you, all you have to do is just say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed this one. We got wired for that." We can track this Prime's activity, and you log into Sam Radar and you tell them we want to track this Prime. And every time they get an award, as soon as possible. And yes, it is one that you lost, but you also can connect with the contracting officer and expand your presence. That's how you do it, anonymous attendee. All right, let's see. I have a great
William Fester.
William, yeah, okay. So, hi, great chatter. I have another meeting. I'd like to understand what Sam Radar will cost me. It costs you $349 a month. Yes, we'll follow up with you. All right, William, thanks a lot. What other questions we got? Did you see any in the chat, Sally?
I do not right now. Looks like you've got them very nicely.
Any other questions, whether Sam Radar related or not? I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to know.
Here's one. Wesley says, "Can I add the companies that I worked for or with to my past performance?"
The answer is no. You have to be careful with that, because that can actually land you in the penalty box. What happens is, no, this is serious. Just like a resume can get you fired for misrepresentations, if you make a false claim on past performance, that can land you in the world of trouble. You can cite it as experience relevant to key personnel in your organization, but you cannot cite it as past performance. Number one, because you may have a non-compete with your existing or previous employers, and that could land you in the penalty box and get you a nasty cease and desist letter from their legal. Number one. Number two, it's just not accurate. You were working for someone else. Everything you did most likely was covered under works for hire. Works for hire. So intellectual property and everything that you did is claimed by someone else. You can cite the experience as relevant experience directly related to that scope of work. You cannot cite it as past performance. That's very important.
Your certification as an individual, like Kevin's situation, if you had those certs, that's a personal certification on the resume level, though, right?
Yes, and again, back to that point, you can cite it as experience. You can, for example, if 3 members of your team have experience working on XYZ, right? You can cite that, but it was with a former employer. You need to be truthful when relaying that information. You need to be protecting. You need to protect your previous employer's information, because that's covered most likely under ironclad NDA and confidentiality agreements, and you need to abide by those.
Good call. So the other thing that will come up is, hey, if I work as a sub, do I get the points for that? And the answer is sometimes, depending on how your relationship is with the prime, right? Go ahead.
So it's related to the previous question. Let's say that you are a subcontractor to someone else, right? Your company is, right? Or you're a 1099 and you're working for another who was the prime on a specific contract, and you'd like to cite that information as past. You need to go to your previous employer or to your prime and say, hey, can I cite this as part of my experience on a letter from you saying that this person carried out XYZ? You know, that's the correct way to do it, right? And the ethical way to do it. But just to put that on the table.
Yep.
Speaking of prime, Todd, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sally. What you got?
I was just saying, speaking of primes, Ralph and Dave, Todd J asked, I would like to know about how to find primes that are looking for subs like Kevin was talking about. Great question.
I love your question. This is
Yes,
fantastic.
Todd.
Guess where I'm going to go?
I don't know,
Boom.
but I have a sneaking suspicion.
I got one even up on that. And so one thing is to find the prime, right? So you find this prime is swimming in your pool. They have a relationship because they only have one offer received. The relationship is with this person at NASA. And sometimes these are big primes, right, Sally? So we don't know who they are, but we know one person for sure who knows who at the prime we should be talking to on this project.
Yes.
We just reach out and say, hey, can you connect me with the person over at
Yes.
Computer Evidence, right?
And
And then you do a little bit more. Then you do a little bit more research. Where do you do your research? A little more research?
You do it on LinkedIn. And the other place you do it that Dave doesn't really talk about too much because he's pretty humble. Sometimes when I go to conferences and I see a lot of primes, like there's, BAE, Northrop Grumman, Astel, I mean, all the big primes that are getting billion-dollar contracts are at these conferences where we're going to. Mm-hmm. And Dave, in his research group, can help you, schedule a Calendly with Dave and Rob, and they can help you have access to which individuals that you should be talking with at the prime. So when I walk up to the booth at Northrop Grumman, I'll say, hey, I'm connected through Sam Radar with, Jonelle Clary. And they'll say, oh, we know Jonelle. And suddenly they're more likely to talk to me than just, hello, wolf girl. What do you want from us? You tiny little lone wolf company. You know what I mean? So Dave's group and his company and his research gives me sort of the intel I need that I can have meaningful discussions when I go to these conferences. So thanks, Dave.
You may be asking, how do you get to that research? Is because we love our Sam Radar customers and we normally give it to them. Normally.
Unbelievable. I'm always saying, Dave, you got to charge for this. And I'll tell you.
I love Sam Radar members because what we're doing is helping you get to where you want to go. And we have a whole bunch of folks, just like Kevin, just like Sally, just like other folks here. So I do want to to recognize Peter, who has been very, very, very patient sitting there.
Listening.
And what I want to do, Peter, is next month. If you're around next month, if we can talk, one of the questions I want to have is, what are the biggest challenges for small businesses trying to find funding? Because everybody needs funding from time to time.
Yeah, that's a big challenge in any type of business. To grow your business, you need access to capital, and we're here to provide that access to capital, whether you're brand new, you're a newbie, or existing current government contractors. And one thing that we will do, if you've got contracts that are outside your line of credit, we can do contract specific financing, where we'll provide financing on just that one contract. So we have clients. My biggest client is over 100 million in revenue. My smallest is brand new. So we can do total relationship, or we can do contract specific, but we can really help. And, we say to customers, your days of using an excuse of lack of access to capital are over when you're our client, because we will be there for you.
I love it. Let me do this. I'm going
to identify the opportunities, win the opportunities. I'll give you the launch codes, because now your company is ready to take off.
I'm going to ask people if they want professional help, and some of that professional help is down here where it says with contract payroll funding. That is Peter Timbus. If you want to talk to Peter, all you have to do is say yes to that, and you can do that. There's also a couple of other things that we will do there, and we'll get to a couple last minute questions in just a minute. I do want to thank our buddy Brian Hebel for swinging in. And then I'd love to invite you guys today at 1 p.m. You can find it on govbrief.us. We will be there. If you'd like to be the subject matter expert to Govies, we want to know. We want to hear from you. We have programs to be able to help you with that. Send a message of support at govbrief.us. If you want to learn more about anything in the federal space, I'm telling you, this is blowing up. GovBrief is absolutely exploding right now. You can find really, really great people here. We got Joan Johnson, former deputy assistant,
Secretary R&D.
Yeah, for R&D for the Navy.
Yep,
Yeah,
Navy.
she's a powder keg. I cannot wait to talk with her. That's tomorrow. Thursday we got Raphael, and next week we got. And you're going to be talking about socioeconomic certifications because some things never hit the street because of that, right, Rafa?
Absolutely, and we're here to help.
Yep. So it's time to get your company positioned, and your number one job is to build relationships. Let us know what you need. The next 230 days we got, ladies and gentlemen, to disrupt the status quo. Just like Kevin said, he has an incumbent that he's up against. He didn't even bid because he knew that it was wired. And you're going to find that, and that's where we want to go. The question is, why should they let you in? And that's why we're here. We're here to help you do that here for free, as well as charging exorbitant fees to do those things. Just kidding. You can do a free trial for Sam Radar. You can check that out. Join me today for the sam.gov tutorial. There's Brian Hebel. He's here. Brian, thanks, man. And you got to watch a grandbaby, I think, right? So that's for him. All right. Fantastic. Any last minute questions that you saw, Sally, so we can get those taken care of?
There's a lot of nice compliments. David says, love the handouts, great insights. People are thanking you. I'm just scrolling up in the chat. Let's see,
Cool.
Kudos to you, blah, blah, blah. And what I'll do is I've captured the chat. So if I see any questions, what I'll do, I'll distribute them to Dr. Raphael, Dave, Kevin, Peter, the gang, so that you can get back to these folks.
We will make sure that everybody gets what they need. We appreciate you guys joining us, and if you filled out anything in the needing professional help, not the kind of professional help that you need for sitting here and listening to us for an hour. The kind of professional help that'll help you win contracts and get to be Johnny Cash.
Woo!
All right. So I'll see you
like
guys. Hey, Rafa, you want to hop on with me for the sam.gov tutorial for a minute? Or are you good?
Yes, sir. Yes,
right.
sir.
Well, then you'll see Rafa. If you come with me to the sam.gov tutorial, you'll be there. That's Rafa.
Vámonos.
Pops out.
Vámonos.
All right, guys. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everybody. Good to see you. Thanks, Dave.
A
Bye.
Word in the world is Sally San Diego.
Oh.